Hype Podcast Studios.
We are the vision, we are the action. Give us your trust, love is our reaction. Today you are so visible, so visible, so visible, so visible. Hope is the road you're walking, trust is the door you're knocking. Sleep with both eyes closed now.
Hi everybody, thank you so much for coming back. You are joining us at the Vision the podcast again, and we cannot believe we've nearly had 50,000 people watch and listen, which is insane because we didn't think that we don't know 50,000 people, but it's incredible that you've been joining and listening and hearing some of the insights. And for us, we've just had an incredible response about young people kind of taking really good advice and adults taking some really good messages, which we absolutely love. Firstly, we want to thank the sponsors of this episode and the sponsors of the last episode, which is Anchor Social Care. We wouldn't be here without people sponsoring us, which is incredible. So Anchor do some incredible work with children's homes, children's social care, and supporting them to do the very best for children through audits and mentoring and support. So thank you again, Anchor Social Care. We really, really appreciate it. So today we have two incredible guests. We have Josh, who is returning guest, OG, and we have Charlotte. So I'm just going to hand you over to Charlotte first to do her introduction, if that's okay.
Hi, I'm Charlotte. I've been working with the Vision since I was 18 and I'm now 20 and I'm care experienced.
Amazing. Go for it, Josh.
Yeah, so I'm Josh. I might look a bit different because I've had a shave. So, yeah, I probably look a bit younger today, but I am actually 28, but I might look about 20.
Yeah. 20 at heart.
Yeah, so I've been part of the Vision since the start. I've been able to go on and become a support worker, and I've just completed my level 4 and got a distinction.
Woo woo, literally.
So yeah, it's been a very good week for myself.
Yeah.
And obviously that just takes me on to the next stage of supporting young people and making a difference.
Definitely.
In the world. And that was my aim years ago when I first met Carly, was to make a difference in the community and support young people to thrive.
And you do that every day, which is incredible. We're going to touch upon your qualification in a second because I think it really links in nicely. But today's episode, we were going to focus on all things relationships. So we hear a lot within kind of our community from children, from young people, from adults about relationships. So people who help you thrive, people who help you do well in life, whether that's friends, families, adults around you. We also hear a lot about sometimes when there's unhealthy relationships around too. So from our perspective, we wanted to touch upon around these things because sometimes people don't know how to talk about stuff. They don't know how that may affect them. So actually having an open conversation between all of us, we thought would be really, really positive. Before we jump onto that, we want to just celebrate a few things. So Josh has touched upon his qualification, which was amazing. And also we want to celebrate a few other things as well. So we've recently secured some funding from Sport England, which is amazing. It's about young people. Any young person, doesn't matter if you are supported by children's social care, it doesn't matter if you are a care experienced young person, 16 to 25-year-old, about supporting people to get more active and get involved in the community. So we're kind of currently planning that. So Charlotte's had some incredible ideas about how to get females and males more active and just that inclusive side, haven't we, Charlotte? Which has been great.
So we've sort of been brainstorming
Yes.
different ideas together about what we think that young people will be the most interested in.
Definitely.
Football, netball, dodgeball, a bit of nostalgia.
I know.
I'm bringing everyone together as well to do something, and we've talked about this a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Since the start of the Vision around equally the care experience community get a lot of support, but there's a lot of children and young people in St Helens who are struggling with, if not the same things
100%.
as care experienced children. So bringing everyone together and creating that safe space is going to be massive.
And what's positive as well, obviously we do a lot within our home authority, St Helens, we get a lot of support, which is amazing, but equally it can be accessible to young people outside the area, because Charlotte's in a position where she lives slightly outside the area, and actually what about those other young people that might not have that access in Wigan or Warrington or neighbouring areas, and we can kind of make that a bit of an inclusive community, which is great. And the other few things that we wanted to chat to you about, we did something absolutely amazing, like amazing. So a young person who attends our groups on a Tuesday, which is our Inner Spark Out of Voice group, which we partnership with our local authority around, it's about young people making changes within their authority. And we were asked to deliver a presentation which was all about involving children and young people in decisions that are made in court. So young people who are care experienced, they come into the care of their local authority because a judge has made a decision. So actually, when we originally spoke to a lot of children and young people, they said, we didn't really know that decisions were made in court. We didn't really know a lot about court processes, which was quite surprising, but actually it opened a bit of a can of worms. So the presentation that we did was to 160 people, and that was from barristers to judges to social care professionals. And one of our youngest children, Lydia, stood up at 12 years old and just delivered the most amazing speech and presentation about kind of how judges that needed to listen more to children and young people. So it was amazing.
Yeah, I think
wasn't it, Jess?
it was absolutely massive.
Yeah.
To just have the young ones just stood on the stage, and we'd done a bit of preparation before they
Yeah.
went on the stage,
Yeah.
and we kind of got comfortable in the room, because 250 people, that's a lot of people to be talking in front of.
Definitely.
So we calmed those nerves, and they got on the stage, and they obviously used their voice, which was massive. But it takes me back to when I first done my first talking at 21 years old. But at 12 years old to do that is a massive achievement.
Just
And I think for
incredible.
any of them to get up on that stage and do it
Yeah.
is massive. So being able to empower them
Yeah.
and be that positive role model to
100%.
give them new experiences, opportunities to.
And what was really powerful in that situation was, so Megan and Demi were both stood next to Lydia, and they supported her, as in kind of put their arm around her and boosted her up, and just like, yeah, we're here as those role models. So that kind of takes us nicely onto the first topic that I was going to talk about, which was around relationships and that relationship with yourself. So a big thing that shone out for me in that situation was about actually the young people, the younger children and young people actually don't feel like they're able to do things, lack confidence. We're in a place where we kind of built their self-worth to recognise that. So you're 100%, you can stand up and you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. You can advocate for yourself. You can be empowered. So should we touch upon that first, as in how do we build that positive relationship with yourself? Because I think that's such a big topic.
I
Go
think
for it, Char.
the way that you can grow confidence in yourself is definitely pushing yourself to do things that you're scared of and past your limits, because then you can trust yourself that you are able to do the things that you didn't think that you could.
So give us an example, Char, when you've done that, as in like when you push past something.
Just loads of things, just like general like anxiety, even with going to the gym and stuff. And then when I've started going on my own, which I just never used to like to do, even with the vision, doing the podcast, loads of different things. It's just realising that I can do it.
And where do you find yourself now, as in how's that benefited you? Because you were a different person from when I met you then to now.
I feel like it's benefited me in loads of different ways. So generally just day to day, I feel like a lot calmer and stuff. I feel like more proud of myself, and I can recognise the good qualities rather than constantly bringing myself down and thinking that, oh, I don't deserve this, or comparing myself to other people all the time. It's always now just to compare to myself.
100%. And we touch upon on some of our training courses something called the technical term is internal working model, but we call it a little internal computer. And one of those buttons that we touch all of the time is about ourselves and what we believe in ourselves. So it could be, Shar, you've just said, sometimes my button is I don't deserve things, or I'm not worthy of things. And actually, a lot of the time, if we've maybe not had the best start in our lives because people haven't been consistent or let us down, we can sometimes try and push that button to prove that that computer's right. So I'm not going to do that, and I'm not going to break past that barrier, because actually I'm going to prove that this computer is right. But when you start to change some of those buttons in that little internal computer and you start to believe in yourself and you start to kind of create different pathways, it just opens things up for you, doesn't it? Which
Yeah,
is huge.
like just not doing self-destructive behaviour anymore and doing like behaviour which benefits me, I guess.
100%. And what are some of those things that's benefited you because you've taken so many different things that you've done so far?
Well, I feel like definitely recognising when people aren't the right set of friends for me and things. I've had to focus on myself, and instead of feeling pressured to go out all the time with them or pressured to be a certain way, I've sort of gone down my own path quite a lot now and focusing on like making myself healthier and just happier and just calmer and not anxious all the time and stuff.
And some of your things practically, are you swimming, you're cooking meals, doing like nice trips and stuff now, isn't it? And taking those choices to prioritise yourself, because we don't always do that, do we? We struggle to prioritise ourselves.
I feel like those things were just getting like lost a bit, like because my life was stressing me out so much with all these other things that was on my mind, and now I've made those changes. Now I can take a step back and actually I've got the time to do nice cooking and swimming and all things like that.
And just that weight lifted, it's just incredible to see, isn't it? So, Josh, what's your thoughts in terms of that work on yourself? Because the one thing that I was thinking when you said about your qualification, your fear-based thoughts were, I failed, I've not done it, I failed. And actually like that belief in yourself kind of little by little has arrived, and where you are today from where you were then is just massive.
Yeah, so I think especially with that, I had a goal set in mind, and at the start I went in it with this clear goal, and I done all my revision and I built my own confidence up. I'm going to go for my distinction, I'm going to go for the high level, even though I doubted myself due to in school I weren't very academic. I was good at like creative things or like woodwork and sports, but when it come down to like academic, like English, science, geography, religious, education, like I was just terrible at all them. But
German.
German. I'd done that for 9 years and failed. So I kind of got in my own head, and I just wanted to do really well. And then when I done my actual exam, I didn't think it went as good as what I thought it went, and I thought I messed up a bit. So
he called me and was like, what did you mean by this?
So after it, I was like, what did she mean by saying this? I asked her to repeat it 10 times, and she kept on saying the same word. I don't know what it meant. And I did know what it meant, but obviously at the time, I didn't know. But luckily I came out with that distinction. I achieved it. So all those worries of being in my own head and having that fear of I've failed. What happens if I failed? I'm gonna look like an idiot. I've worked so hard for this and I can't fail. But then to find out I got a distinction, I was amazed really, because I was like, how did I get a distinction? Because I messed up on it, but clearly they must have seen something that I didn't see. So I think not getting in your own head, worrying about things, and having that confidence to be like, I can do it.
100%.
Because your brain can just throw things at you. You're not worthy, you're not good enough, you're incapable. All these negative things that we always talk about, the automatic negative thoughts. That we're able to counteract them. So sometimes it can be difficult. So sometimes you have to be like, I can achieve it. I'm gonna go for the higher level, and just believing in yourself. I think believing in yourself is part of that self-worth. And I think in my head I had it as, if I go for the distinction, I know I'm gonna get a pass. So I kind of felt comfortable going for the higher one, because I knew if I didn't reach it, then I would have just got a pass, which I would have been happy with, because it's very difficult to get a distinction, and that's why I'm still shocked.
But the effort you put in and the time, which is amazing. Investing in yourself.
But again, it goes back to that relationships. I've been surrounded by a lot of people who've supported me, who've pushed me forward, who've empowered me.
Believe in you.
And being part of the vision, being able to provide training. And for me, to learn repetitiveness is very helpful for me. If I repeat things, my brain tends to retain that information. So doing 20 safeguarding trainings with Carly or CCE or whatever the training is, doing that over and over again has been very beneficial to me, and now it'll never leave my brain. It'll be embedded forever. But then going back to those positive relationships and building a positive social circle, but
Yeah.
equally, like you were saying before, a lot of us end up in our comfort zone. That could be in your bedroom, that could be in your office, that could be
Definitely.
whatever that is, and we all do it, and we can all come out of that comfort zone at different
Mm-hmm.
times, and we can all get put back in it. But it's about stepping out that comfort zone. And for me, it was at the age of 21, and Carly said, "Do you want to come and talk in front of 500 people at the Saints ground?" And for me, that was, yeah, I'll do it, because it was an opportunity, and I wanted to step out the comfort zone. But then actually stepping out, oh my god, that was
belly just
I was
flips, doesn't it?
petrified, and I remember doing my talk, and after it, I sat down and I was shaking, and my body, I was just
Adrenaline.
like, yeah, my adrenaline was going, but I felt proud of myself, and that's why when we do a lot of the different groups that we do a lot of different activities, and we'll
Yeah.
see some young people who, oh, I don't know about that one. That's not a bit of me. And we'll always give them that bit of
Yeah.
confidence boost of
That's right.
it's something different. You might not like it, but
Just give it a go.
Yeah, you might like it. And most of the time, everyone has enjoyed themselves, and it might have not been their cup of tea.
Yeah.
But they've went and had a go, and it's turned out they've enjoyed it. So
And you're surrounded by people who you feel safe with. So even if you do mess up, or I remember a young person like trying an activity and they fell over, and instead of being like, oh my God, I feel mortified and I'm never going to do it again, they stood up and they laughed. And the reality is, maybe a few months before, they would have either never tried or would have been so embarrassed that they'd fallen over. So it's about those safety nets around you of who's going to support you and believe in you. And Charlotte said something earlier that I was thinking about in terms of actually your friendships and peer groups and having to step away. And that's something that we were chatting about just in the car on the way here, about how do we support maybe children, young people or adults around, how do we talk about something called boundaries all the time. What does boundaries mean? How do we set them to kind of like be able to support ourselves and prioritise ourselves? What does that mean for us?
Well, I feel like you have to be a really strong person to be able to set boundaries, because it's like protecting yourself.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time it's really is difficult to set them, because you don't want to make people be disappointed with you, annoyed at you, and you're just scared because you might want to like lose your friends and stuff like that, really. But if your friends were good enough friends that they would respect like your boundaries, what you're comfortable with, what you're not, and can appreciate like what you need to do to reach the goals that you want to reach in life, because at some point in your life you'll look around and realise what type of track you want your life to go down.
100%. And boundaries is so hard, isn't it, around?
especially when you're young. So say if you're 16 and you're trying to implement boundaries with your friends, that can be very difficult, because for one, you're all still learning life.
True.
You're still learning how to respect each other. So putting boundaries in place when you're young can be very difficult, but equally it can be hard when you become an adult. So it's about, again, going back to that confidence in yourself to put your own boundaries in place, which if you have got that positive group around you, it's a lot easier to put boundaries in, because you know that person respects you.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you're in a group where you're not really familiar with that group, it's very hard to use your voice to put those boundaries in
If you
place.
don't put boundaries in, it's like at the cost to your own health, your own happiness. Like it can always affect like you personally if like people are constantly breaking those all the time by like, oh no, I want to go home at this time, and then they're like, oh no, stay out, and then you go home at like 4 a.m. in the morning and you miss your job and work or something
Yeah,
like
and it's
that.
impacting
It's
you.
always gonna like impact you. And I
Definitely.
think that's how you notice, oh, I actually might need to set some boundaries here, because it's at detriment to my own personal growth.
And let's think then practically around how do we set them. So sometimes it's really hard to say no. Do you know what I mean? In terms of those words of actually saying, no, I don't want to, or no, I can't.
I think
And sometimes, go on, Charlotte, what
I
do
think
you
it gets easier to say just no, I can't do that. But at the start, when you're first trying to set boundaries, it's always like if you struggle to set them, it's easy to have like a little excuse like, oh, I can't do it because of this, and have that pre-planned in your head
Yeah.
before you actually even like say it. And that made it easier for me. But now I can just say, no, I don't want to do that.
It's incredible because actually probably like 6 months ago you weren't in that place to be able to do that. And
No, and
it
you
takes a
just
lot.
do what other people would just say. I don't know why.
And sometimes people want you around for their own benefit. They might be lonely, they might be struggling. So your boundaries are kind of stretching or not in place because actually you feel, I need to be there for that person because they're struggling. So we sometimes fall to prioritising other people and actually I need to make sure they're okay. And then, like you said, at the detriment to yourself and kind of actually I've been late for work or I'm actually struggling as that person asked how I am or I spent time to speak to me and stuff.
Yeah, it can be really imbalanced sometimes. So you could be putting in all of the effort one way, like one-sided friendships or relationships, and then they might not be putting in that kind of effort back.
A relationship works two ways.
Yeah.
So we've probably all experienced this where you felt like you put everything into a relationship but you're not actually receiving the same thing back.
Yeah.
But again, that's putting your boundaries in and communicating because that person may not be doing it on purpose. They may not recognise that they're doing that. So sharing how you're feeling and communicating, that's another thing that can be very hard.
Very hard.
Especially for everyone, but lads as well, to a young 17-year-old lad to open up to his lad mate about how he feels in that relationship. It can be difficult. So making sure that you voice things and work together through a relationship, because no relationship's perfect.
No,
but it's
definitely not.
But it's about receiving what you kind of...
What you need, isn't it, in terms of back? And that you've again just sparked something in me there, Josh, in terms of sometimes we have people in our lives, whether that's family members, whether that's friends, where potentially they've got their own difficulties in life and they may struggle and they may be a person who never respects your boundaries, but it might be somebody that you still want in your life. So it might be a relative, it might be a friend that you've known since you were 11. It might be that actually it's a parent, because actually some parents have got, everybody's got their own story, haven't they? So, and we were reflecting about this a few days ago about how do we manage those things of those people where potentially you've got to accept who they are as a person, but actually if they're not respecting your boundaries, how do we take a step back for a moment? Or if it's somebody who may be struggling in terms of their own mental health and it's really impacting you in that relationship, maybe actually what do we do to get them support for you to be able to take a step back? Because some people haven't got that ability at times to grow at the same level that you've got. Do you know what I mean?
I think you said it there, where everyone's got their own story.
Yeah,
everyone's
definitely
been through their own experiences, and we're all dealing with our inside our own emotions, our own thoughts, our own behaviours. And when we have those people who maybe where it impacts us, I think it's for you to then make that decision yourself.
Yeah.
It's only you who can make that decision, and you may give them that more time that you want to give them, and then realise that you need to take that step back.
Yeah.
But again, that's down to you as an individual person to make your own decision.
Definitely.
And put those own boundaries in place. But like I said before about...
Maybe not spending as much time at once with them, or not meeting up at your house and
that's a good
things. You could maybe
suggestion.
meet out in a cafe or, somewhere where it's a bit more neutral. Territory.
100%.
And one of my things, I've had a lot of difficulties with relationships because relationships aren't easy.
No.
I've had difficulties with my relationships with my bare family. I've had difficulties with my foster family. I've had difficulty with my friends. I've had difficulties with myself. But again, that's just life. We've got to go through all those experiences, and I've had some really good times with my foster family. I've had some really good time with my friends. I've had some really good times with myself. But it's about recognising that it's not always going to be positive.
It's a roller coaster, isn't it, of different things.
And that's just life, isn't it? We're going to have some ups and we're going to have some downs. And I said before about my birth mum, around my relationship with her, is I never really met her my whole life, and I wanted to meet her, and I finally did. And it weren't what I expected.
No.
And I'm quite a helpful person, so I want to help everyone. I want to make sure that we have safer communities. I want to tackle exploitation. These are all the things that I'm passionate about, which drives me to make a difference. And maybe that comes from seeing the experiences of my birth mum. But but I had to keep myself safe.
Definitely you do.
And she's been given all that support and help, and it was down to her as an individual person to make the differences in her own life. And I said, because it was so helpful, I was looking at myself, and I had a spare bedroom, and she was living on the streets, and that was very like upsetting for me to be like, I've got this spare bedroom, but my own birth mum is on the streets, and for anyone to be on the streets, I mean, that upsets me. But
100%.
to see her in that position, and for me to put my own boundaries in place and be like, right, no, I can't let her in, because I've created all this, and I don't think I can help her, because she's had all this professional help
Definitely.
for her whole life, and she's never been able to, I don't know,
accept
accept that and change.
Be in that place to kind of have that journey.
Yeah,
isn't
so for me on that relationship, that was a very difficult time for me to go through those emotions and to understand.
And the guilt that eats you with that, Josh, isn't
Yeah,
it? And
yeah.
that we see that a lot. And I think there's a lot of children and young people that will say, feel really guilty that I've told a parent or a family member I can't lend you that money, or you can't come and live with me, or we can't do this, because that is so hard when you're so conflicted of that computer again, of should I prioritise this person or should I prioritise myself? And there's such a fine balance, because you might have made that decision to say, yeah, come and live with me. But actually, where you said then, it's really important that sometimes people have that professional support around them and that network around them. And it's never going to be easy those times, is it, when someone's struggling?
No, definitely not. And it was, for me, that relationship was never there. So it was just a sad, a sad story for me birth mum, really. And that's something that I take with me to drive me to make a difference. And I'm sure a lot of care experience young people, or anyone, can relate to maybe that situation. But then my relationship with me foster parents, that was very positive, up until I then was influenced through peers, and that relationship became tense and drained. So I think, can we move on to that around as an adult, when relationships become distant?
Yeah,
become
definitely. How
hard.
do we repair that?
I
Definitely.
think I've repaired my relationship really loads with my adopted family, to be honest, because when I first come into care, it was really up and down and rocky, and I wouldn't speak to her, and I'd just put the phone down. But now we're going out for like a meal and stuff the other day, and having a really nice birthday with my dad. But it took like a lot of trying and a lot of failing as well, and we'd have a lot of arguments, and it was up and down. But I think if you just, both of you, are making the conscious effort to try extra hard to be nice and respectful, then it can work. But it does have to be like both ways.
And it can take time, can't it? And actually, again, that computer, if you've been brought into this world and you've had a lot of maybe even early years, Charles, yours was so early in terms of such a small baby, where people haven't maybe been around, even in a mum's tummy. If you've had things that have let you down and that trust has been broken, that computer will say, I need to prove it right, and I can't trust people, or I can't kind of rely on others. And when we start to navigate some of those things to kind of go, this is what we need to do to prove it wrong, and repair and communicate and do some of those things, I think it's so powerful. And I'm just going to lead us on to kind of the last topic around what we talked about was how we create. There is something called the secure base model, and that secure base model is about how do we create that secure thing, as in like anchors to the floor. So there's a theory out there, but we reflected about what that would look like in relationships generally. So we touched upon actually that first point of that secure kind of base was around communication. How do we repair? How do we build trust? How do we communicate with those people in our lives to make sure we've got the right people around us, which was so powerful. The second one, Charlotte, I'm just going to come to you on this because I thought it was really, really important, and some things that you talked about was about having people in your life that value you. So I thought that was really important in terms of a topic as well, just to kind of touch upon with the secure base.
Yeah, well, it's definitely the best type of people to have is people who value you in your life, because it's just really nice to have people around who see all the good things about you, not the negative things, and notice all the things that you do for them as well, and
Definitely.
they can give it back. And, you know, valuing yourself is just recognising all the positive things that you can do, and having other people around you there to be like that instead of constantly putting you down and stuff, and, you know, uplifting you definitely changes your life.
Oh, 100%. And the final one was about having people around you that can validate how you're feeling, of not linking very much into that valuing, but actually somebody that'll say, it's okay if you had a really bad time, or you might not have responded in the right way when you've told someone to F off, or you've responded in this way or whatever. Doesn't make it right, but actually I'm going to validate that you're really struggling. How do we stick by in? How do we work through some of these things and kind of have those people around you that are willing to ride that roller coaster? So I just think those kind of things we wanted to touch upon to make sure young people take that, and adults and children take that forward into their lives. Think about some of those things. Have you got that in your life? Have you not? What do we need to do to change things? And how do we touch upon actually some of that fear-based thoughts? They don't need to dictate us all the time. How do we get people around us that can kind of say, actually, that's you, Josh, for example, that's you going, you're going to fail. But actually, Josh, how much effort you've put in, all those Post-it notes, all that stuff on your wall that you were so fully prepared. Same with you, Charles. You wouldn't have been sat in this seat maybe 6+ months ago. You would have been like, see ya, I'm gone. Whereas now it's completely different, which is just amazing. So actually from us, we just want to kind of touch upon, you may have people in your life where you need to put those boundaries in place. That is so hard. And we recognise that. And actually it might be, like Charlotte said, having some of those things loaded in your mind to say, oh, I just need to go home for something, or actually I need to make this call, or actually I've got something tomorrow. It's okay to say no, and it's okay to recognise that you are a priority. And even when that's really tough, when it's family members, when it's friends, it's okay to prove that internal computer wrong as well. It's okay to say, actually, I am worthy of these things, and I am okay to say that I need to do something different. And Charles said so lovely there, it's okay to step back and say, what path and what track do I need? What do I need, and where do I want my life to be? So we just want to say thank you so much for listening and being part of kind of our conversation today. And we will be back. We will be back and talking about all things that we hear on a day-to-day basis. And when we're sat here, we represent all of those children, young people, adults that we talk to on a daily basis, and some of those lessons that we've learned along the way as well. We want to thank Anchor Social Care so much for sponsoring this episode and our last episode. Anchor do incredible work to support children's social care, making sure that actually children are receiving amazing outcomes through their audits, mentoring and supervision of children's homes and many other sectors. We really, really appreciate that they believe in our work, because they reached out to say, we absolutely love what you're doing and we want to see more of it. So thank you again, and we really appreciate it. And we will see you again very, very soon, guys. And hopefully we are over 50,000, and we have no idea where you're all coming from, but we roll. We really appreciate it. So thanks. Thanking you.
Hit the subscribe button.
Oh, Josh is the social media one.
Hold on, your future is bright. We are the vision. We are the action. Give us your trust, love is our reaction. We are the vision. We are the action. Give us your trust, love is our reaction. Today you are so visible, so visible, so visible, so visible. Hope